Hey y'all, Beth here. Lucky Cricket and I just got back from a wonderful long walk, and since I didn't have a really big meal last night, I was kind of batching it last night. My husband is at deer camp again, and so we don't have any deer yet. We're still looking for some venison for the freezer. But they have my grandson with them this time, and he is 8, and he seems to have better luck bagging a deer than the other guys do. So hopefully this time we'll get some venison for the freezer. But Cricket and I took a long walk, and when I came home, I heated up my coffee and was drinking my coffee, and I thought, you know what? I need more than this right now. So I started thinking, what do I have in the refrigerator that would be very nourishing, that would be very satisfying, that I could get into this morning without really eating yet, because it's 10 o'clock now. It was 9 o'clock when we got back from our walk. So we made these oxtails a week ago, been in the refrigerator for a minute now, but we made these oxtails a week ago, and y'all, they were so yummy. I had no idea what I was getting into when I started making oxtails. I put them in the crock pot. I've got a little bit of video, but I didn't video all of it. Today I am cooking oxtails for the first time. They have been dry brining in the refrigerator overnight. Just put salt on them and have them sitting up on the rack, dried out. And then I'm going to braise them in the crock pot. I found that the braise setting was not getting hot enough to sear these, so I have put it on sear saute. The bacon fat is all melted, and once this gets up to a good temperature that it'll sear these, I'm gonna pop them in there and put a brown on them. The recipe that I looked at called for breading the oxtails, and I am definitely not going to do that. But it also called for onion, and I do think, since I do happen to have some onion in the house from when we made crab cakes a week ago, I'm going to add a little onion to this. So these oxtails are already salted. They've been sitting in the refrigerator dry brining for 24 hours. So I'm going to put them in here to sear. I'm going to start with the 2 biggest ones. I'm going to sear them on all sides to put a little brown on them, and then I'm going to add the smaller ones. Turning these for the second time. Okay, these big ones have been in here a minute. They've been turned a couple times. So now I'm going to add the smaller ones. Kind of set it up so that end will get seared. That old fatty end. I have no idea what these are going to taste like. It's basically just a really fatty beef. But they were sitting there at Costco, and I was like, I gotta try that. And I grabbed them. Gonna turn those little ones again. They are all braised on all sides now, and I'm going to lay them flat in the crock pot. Now I'm gonna turn it down to slow cook on high. And I'm going to add water. Adding water to that hot oil, need to be careful, right? And that's enough. I'm gonna not cover them completely and let them go for 8 hours on high in the crock pot. That'll be perfect. It's 10 o'clock, they'll be done at 6. I put them in the crock pot, put a little water in them, added salt, and cooked them for 8 hours in the crock pot. And y'all, they just fell off the bones. They were so delicious, so fatty, and yet the meat that was there was also very tender and delicious. So oxtails get a big thumbs up from both of us. BJ didn't even want to try the oxtail. He's like, what in the world are you doing? So anyway, y'all, this is what I have left from the oxtail. And if you can see it, see how thick that fat ring is at the top of this leftover oxtail juice. Now this is mostly just the juice. We ate the big tails. So I saved this juice from the oxtail because I was like, we're going to use this for something. What I want to do today is get to that broth. I'm going to take off a lot of this fat that's on the top right now. I want to get to that broth and I want to heat that up. Now, I'm not a fan of the microwave. You know me, you know I really try not to use the microwave. Now I'm getting some of this fat in here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get out what I think is a nice little serving of this oxtail broth. And I'm gonna heat it up in a saucepan on the stove because I really just try not to use my microwave. So, God, that looks gross. That looks really gross because the broth has become gelatinized because, you know, the bones were in there and everything. So all the gelatin from the bones has gotten in there. So that looks totally gross. But I'm going to heat it up in a saucepan on the stove and I'm going to drink this. We'll see how it goes. There's that yucky looking broth that came out of that leftover oxtail stuff. I'm just going to pour it in the saucepan and let it heat up. Oh, it's already breaking down into a nice broth. Just needed a little heat. All right, let's check on our oxtail broth and see how it's doing. Oh my goodness, y'all, it smells so good. So it looks a little light colored. It is lighter than it was originally. But what I had done was I had made a little gravy from some of the oxtail broth. And what I had added to my gravy was a little sour cream and cream cheese. So when I stored it, I added that little bit of gravy back into the broth when I stored it. So that's why it's that color. But y'all, that looks so stinking yummy. I'm gonna love this. It's ready. Let's see how this is. Oh, it smells so good. Oh, y'all, this is just what my body needed this morning. It didn't need more coffee. It needed good nourishment from this awesome oxtail broth. So glad I shared this with you. Try it sometime. It's yummy.